Most people don't fail because they tried and lost. They fail because they never started. A man named David started with $200 and a single recipe. Today, his product sits in over 60 stores. But the strangest part of his story, it began with a conversation most people would have ignored. Right now, somewhere in the world, someone with your same talent, your same background, maybe even your same empty bank account, is quietly building something. No applause, no permission, just action. And 1 year from today, you will either be inspired by their story or you'll be living your own. David was 31 years old and worked the early shift at a laundry facility. Up at 4:30 every morning, home by 3 p.m. Same route, same uniform, same exhaustion. He wasn't lazy, he wasn't unlucky. In fact, he worked harder than almost anyone he knew. But every month, no matter how many hours he worked, the numbers in his bank account stayed small. Just enough, never more. His father used to say, "David, you were born for more than this." But David had stopped believing that a long time ago. He had tried to start a small tailoring business once from home. It didn't grow, so he took it as a sign. Some people are entrepreneurs, he thought. I'm just not one of them. That belief, quiet, invisible, and powerful, was the only thing standing between him and everything he wanted. One evening, while walking home from work, David passed a roadside stall he had walked past hundreds of times before. An older man sat behind a small table selling handmade soaps wrapped in brown paper. The display was simple, just a few bars arranged neatly, but something caught David's attention. There was a line of customers. Curious, he stopped. He bought 1 bar. Then he asked the man, "How long have you been doing this?" The man smiled, the kind of calm smile that only comes from someone who has lived without regret. 9 years, he said. Started with 1 recipe, my grandfather's. Now I have 11. David walked home that night holding the soap, smelling it, thinking, not about soap, about 9 years, about 1 recipe, about how small the beginning was and how that hadn't stopped him. David had $200 in savings. That was everything. But he also remembered something. His uncle used to make a smoky homemade hot sauce that people loved. Friends would always ask for extra. An idea formed in his mind. So David took the $200 and bought ingredients, small glass bottles, and printed simple labels using a computer at the public library. His first batch was small, just 50 bottles. He carried them to work in a tote bag. He told his coworkers, "Try it before you buy it." Most did, and most bought. In his first week, he sold about 30 bottles at $6 each, roughly $180. It felt like proof that maybe, just maybe, he was onto something. But 2 weeks later, something happened that almost ended everything. A customer returned a bottle. He placed it on the table and said, "This tastes terrible." That night, David sat in his small kitchen, staring at the remaining bottles. The room was quiet. The same old voice slowly crept back into his mind. Maybe I was right the first time. Maybe I'm just not built for this. For a moment, he considered quitting. But instead of giving up, he tasted the sauce again. He realized the customer was right. The vinegar balance was wrong. So he adjusted the recipe and tried again. The next batch was better. Then another problem appeared. A shipment of labels got delayed. Another time, he ruined an entire batch by accident. Each mistake felt like the universe telling him to stop. But instead, he treated every failure like information. He improved the recipe. He ordered labels earlier. He experimented with flavors. 3 months later, something unexpected happened. A cafe owner near his route tried a bottle. He loved it. He placed a standing order for 30 bottles every week.
Then another cafe heard about it. Then a small grocery store. Slowly, the small experiment started growing. 8 months after that first batch, David noticed something incredible. His hot sauce was earning more money than his laundry job. The day he handed in his resignation letter, his hands were shaking. He was terrified, but he did it anyway. Today, David's hot sauce is sold in over 60 stores. He employs 4 people, 3 of them from his old neighborhood. And once a month, he teaches a free workshop for people who want to start something but don't know where to begin. I asked him recently what he would tell the version of himself standing in that laundry facility years ago, the one who believed he wasn't built for more. He thought for a long moment, then he said something simple. I'd tell him to go buy that soap and pay attention to what it makes him feel. By the way, David eventually went back to that roadside stall, the one where the soap seller sat. He brought him a bottle of hot sauce and said thank you. The old man didn't even remember the conversation, but David did, and he always will. Because sometimes the smallest moments in life quietly change everything. 1 year earlier, David carried hot sauce bottles in a tote bag to work. Today, he walks into stores and sees his name sitting on the shelf. And here's the real lesson in his story. The perfect time to start never arrives. There is only now and what you choose to do with it. Small beginnings are not weaknesses. They are how everything meaningful begins. 1 recipe, 50 bottles, 1 cafe, then another. Failure is not judgment. Failure is information. And the belief that you're not built for more is not a fact. It's just a habit. And habits can be broken. Right now, somewhere in the world, someone with your same talent, your same background, maybe even your same empty bank account, is starting something small tonight. 1 year from today, you will either be watching their story or living your own. The difference between those 2 futures might be 1 decision you make today. And sometimes, all it takes is the right story at the right moment. Maybe this was yours. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more life-changing stories.